On in, let's build something. Today I wanted to do something to show my support for the truckers up in Canada. And basically what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to make a sign start to finish using a piece of scrap 2x10. We're also going to be using the Vectric Aspire software. And I'm going to take you start to finish. So the first thing we do is cut it down to our size and then get it planed down, pretty decent as far as smoothness. Next up, we take it over here to the Grizzly joiner. This is a really old joiner, but I put new blades on it and it works really good. I also added dust collection to it and it works really good. Once we get it cut down, planed, and then run through the joiner, we check the dimensions of it. Okay, over here at the computer, we're in our Aspire software. We are going to create a new file. And our width is 36 inches. Our height is 8.75. And our thickness is 1.375. We're going to do a standard simple sign, and standard, which is fastest, we'll start at the lower left corner when we do our XYZ, and we'll hit OK. Now what I want to do first is I want to import some stuff that I downloaded. So let's go over here to import bitmap, and we're going to go to downloads, and I've got this maple leaf right here, and I've got a truck right here. So let's start out with these maple leaves. We'll click on the one and open that. Now what we need to do is we need to convert this to something that we can cut. So I'm going to leave that highlighted. I'm going to go over here to this little bird up here, and that's trace bitmap. So we'll click on that. I'm just going to do the black and white because all I really want is the maple leaf. I don't need the outside lines. So we'll hit preview and apply. Now we can close this. We can actually delete our picture. Now we have the line. Now what we need to do, we'll highlight it. We're going to ungroup all objects and click off of that. Then we're going to highlight the outside one and delete that. Now we have a maple leaf all by itself. And that's actually a pretty good size right there. But I don't want it in the middle, and I thought I would have two of them. So I'm going to go ahead and move this one. I think the size is good though, so I'm going to move it. I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller because I do want to trim around this and I don't want it to interfere with it. So I'm going to hold the shift key down and lower it a little bit. I'm going to leave it highlighted, and I want to center it up and down. So there, it's in a good spot. Now what I want to do is leave it highlighted, and I want to do another maple leaf on the other side over here. So we're going to go over here to mirror selected objects and flip horizontal. So now we have one in the same spot on both sides. So we can close that. So that's the beginning of our support for the Canadian truckers. Now what I want to do is I want to put a truck in the middle. Okay, let's go up here for our next object. We're going to import bitmap. We're going to grab this truck, and hopefully this one will work. So we got the truck imported. Now we're going to go over to the little bird again, and we're going to just leave it black and white because that's the color of it. Preview and hit apply. Now we're going to close that. We're going to go over here and delete the picture. And that's what we're left with. Now what we need to do is highlight it, ungroup objects, and then we're going to get rid of some of the stuff on here. So we'll get rid of this line, we'll get rid of this line, and this is a nice crisp one. So we're going to leave it right there. Now what we're doing is we're making a sign to support the truckers in Canada. So what we want to write on here, we want some text. Okay, we stand with our truckers. Now we're going to move that up a little bit. Okay, so far so good. We got our maple leaves. We stand with our truckers. We got our truck in there. Now I want to create some more text on the bottom. And I want to put Freedom Convoy, or how about Mandate Freedom? I like that. Mandate Freedom. Have to put that down a little bit. And we need to center that on that. I'm not sure if it's centered, so we're going to use our centering tool and center it side to side. And you can see it did move a little bit. Okay, so far so good. Now, what else can we say in here that would be pretty good? So we got Mandate Freedom. We stand with our truckers. Oh, we could put Convoy 2022. So we'll do another text. And we'll put Convoy. Put that right there. Actually, the size is fine, so we'll click that. Click out of there. Now we got to do another text. And we're going to put 2022. And we're going to move that over here. Now we need to center that up and down. Let's go over here to the centering tool. We're going to center up and down. Right there. Now we're going to click out of that. We'll click on this one. And we'll do the same thing. Okay. Now the next thing, so there's our sign. We stand with our truckers, Convoy 2022, Mandate Freedom. Let's make sure this Mandate Freedom is in the center, side to side. Okay, so far that's looking good. Now we need to do a rectangle. So let's go ahead and up here to rectangles. And we need it to be 36 wide by 8.75. And create. Now we're going to go ahead and close that, highlight the rectangle, and center it on our object. Now what we want to do is we need to do an offset because we're going to do a little V-groove trim, kind of make the sign look pretty good. So we'll hit offset, and it already has 7.75 in there, and I like that. So let's go ahead and see where that ends up. Okay, that's pretty good, but it looks like everything's a little close to the trim, the little trim edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight everything in here inside, and I'm going to click on it. Now I'm going to hold the shift key down, grab this little dot over here, and bring it in a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to make sure I haven't moved it, so I'm going to center everything. And it did move a little bit. Okay. All right, so there's our sign with everything on it. I think that's a pretty good sign. Let me know what you think in the comments. So let's go over to our toolpaths and let's see how this works. So what we need to do is let's do our letters first. So we're going to group these together. We'll highlight all the letters, right click, and group objects. We'll then go over to our V-Carve right here, and we'll hit that. Now, okay, it already has a 1502 V-bit, 90 degrees, so that's fine. We'll go ahead. We're not going to use any clearance tools. We're just going to do offset, and we're going to put our number down here, 1502. I'll show you a picture of that bit. It's made by Whiteside. Now we'll go ahead and calculate. Now I want to preview this right now just to see how okay, that looks good. So far so good. Okay, We'll go back to our, now I'm going to rename this real quick just so I know what it is. Right after, or right before V-Carve, I'm going to put letters. Okay, so I know it's the letters, it's V-Carve, and I know what the bit is. So that's all good. Next up, we're going to do the two maple leaves. Now, my idea on these maple leaves was to actually cut them out, to cut the insides out. So we're going to have to do a different type of tool path. We're going to do a pocketing tool path. What we're going to do is we're going to have to use a different tool. So we're going to use, I have an Amana 46176K. So let's go find our Amana, which is down here. 46. Okay, this is the one we're looking for right here. 46176K. Okay, we're going to select that. And we're going to delete the first one. Now we only want to go an 1/8 inch deep, so we're going to leave that where it is. And before we put our name in here, let's calculate, make sure it works. Preview visible toolpath. Preview all. Okay, that looks good. So we'll be able to paint inside of these maple leaves. That looks good. Okay, finally. All right, next up, we're going to do the truck. So this is going to be a V-Carve. Actually, we're going to have to connect this together. We need to get everything selected. Group it. Okay, now we're going to V-Carve that. So let's go back to the toolpaths. V-Carve 1502. And let's take a look at it. Preview all. Actually, the truck came out pretty good. Okay, one thing we're missing is our trim around the outside. So let's go ahead and highlight the trim. We're going to do another V-Carve, that way we don't have to change bits. V-Carve, and actually this needs to be a fluting toolpath, because all we're going to do is follow that line. But we're going to change the tool to the 1502, that way we can use that same one. V-bit 1502 right there. We'll select that, and we'll go ahead and calculate and preview all. All right, there's our trim, and there's our whole sign. That looks good. We stand with our truckers. Convoy 2022, mandate freedom. Okay, so far I do like it. So let's go ahead and take this over to our machine and see what trouble we can get into. Once over at the machine, I clamp it all down using my Rockler clamps, T-track clamps. And basically the first thing I need to do is home the machine. I'm going to start out by cutting out the maple leaves first, because that's going to be using an 1/8 inch straight cut bit, and that'll also give me my XYZ. And it's really important to do your XYZ with a straight bit, because if you try to use a round bit or a V-Carve bit, it does not come out straight on your project. So you always use a straight cut bit to do your XYZ. And right here, this is, I believe this is 8 times speed. And it's this tool is an Amana 1/8 inch spiral bit. And I'll try to leave a picture right here. The maple leaves actually probably took the longest, because it was only cut in an 1/8 inch deep, but it was a pocket cut. So it took a little time to cut those. Now I did hear that the truckers, they're planning a rally to Washington. So look out for another sign supporting the USA truckers going to Washington. This is just my way of saying, you know, that I support this movement. It's I think freedom's really, people take freedom for granted, but it's so easily taken away from you if you don't watch it. And it's nice to see these guys, you know, standing up for their rights. And it's not whether you believe in vaccination or not. It's the freedom to choose. You know, when they start forcing, you know, these crazy things on you, you know, how do you know if it's acceptable or not? I mean, the right to choose is so important in our life that yeah. Anyway, I don't really like to do too much politics type stuff on the show. I don't take one side or the other really. I take my freedom very seriously though, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent. Now right here I've pocketed out the 2 maple leaves, and I'm now going to switch to the V-Carve bit. And this is a 90-degree 1502 V-Carve bit. Now all I'm going to do is touch down. I'm not going to XY with the V-Carve bit. I'll start off by doing the letters. It's hard to see from this far back, but I actually, when I first cut these letters, they didn't cut deep enough, so I actually had to go back and change the program and have it cut 0.1 deeper, and then that worked really well. So what I do, if I want the letters to cut a little deeper, I just do on my start depth, I just put 0.1, and it does a good job. So right there, I look at it, and it didn't seem like it was deep enough, so I loaded another program, and with, like I said, with the 0.1 start, and then it did a lot better job, a lot cleaner. Yeah, supporting my neighbors to the north. I hope they win. It'll be a good example set for us here in America. We still have a lot of, actually where I am at, I have no problems because I haven't worn a mask in 2 years, but yeah, it is a problem everywhere though, as far as the mandates go. Right there, I finished the letters and the little trim around it, and now I'm working on the truck. Now the same thing happened with the truck. I started off and I noticed it was not cutting deep enough. So I ended up rewriting that program with a start depth of 0.1 also, and it came out really, I was actually impressed with the truck. I thought the truck came out really nice. Let me know what you think of the little freedom sign in the comments. Yeah, right there I realized it didn't cut deep enough, so I rewrote the program. Well, I didn't rewrite the program. I just put 0.1 as far as a start depth and redid the tooling. Same V-Carve bit, but you'll notice it really gives some character to this truck. I was pretty happy with this little truck actually. I'm going to have to save that file to do something else with it. Had some pretty good detail in it. I thought it came out really nice. And there it is, all done. Now I ended up flipping this over and cutting 2 keyhole slots. I didn't film that. The next thing I do is I take a little wire brush and I clean off any of the little burrs from the V-Carve bit and the straight cut bit, and just clean them all up a little bit. Make sure there's nothing there. Now I'm not a very good painter. Right here I router the outside edge, give it a little quarter round. I then start painting all the letters red. Actually no, I paint the maple leaves first, red. That seems to be the Canadian color for the maple leaves. Let me know what you think in the comments of the freedom sign. Right there, I paint all the letters red. Now, I didn't use the Oramask this time, which probably I should have, but my idea was to have natural wood. And, you know, Canada is a big producer of lumber and stuff, so I thought just leaving it natural would be kind of cool. So my idea was to paint all these recessed letters red, and then do a little black trim around that that rectangle around the outside, and then paint the truck black and the Convoy 2022 black. And then after I get it painted, my idea was to sand off the excess paint off the wood and then spray it with clear. And I thought it came out really good. Yeah, I was actually pretty happy to make this sign, and I've been following the truckers since they started, and it's amazing that they've been able to stay there for 13 days without too much trouble. After I let it all dry, I get out my little Makita orbital sander and I just sand all the excess off of the natural wood. And that seemed to work pretty good. Like I said, I'm not the greatest painter, so to do it this way, it seems to work pretty good for me. Matter of fact, when I sanded the truck, I was surprised how good the detail came out on the truck. When I painted it, I wasn't really sure what was going to stand out and what wasn't going to stand out, and the truck came out pretty good. I got my little pellet stove going in the background. Still cold outside. Right there, I clean it all up. Sand off a little bit more of the edges. Now right here, I take it outside and I spray about 5 coats of water-based polyurethane. And that's pretty much my go-to nowadays. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, support your neighbor truckers. You know, freedom is it's a tricky thing. It seems like we're slowly losing our freedom all around the world. So I definitely support the truckers, and yeah, good for them, and I hope they win. Anyway, yeah, this is a nice sign. It's my way of saying thank you to the truckers that are doing it, and the more people stand up, the freer we'll be in the future. Anyway, yeah, thanks again for watching. Like I said, please subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you next time. Later.